Day 33, 2025, November 7th, Joshua 11. Northern Kings defeated. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard of this, he sent word to Jobab, king of Madon, to the kings of Shimron and Akshaph, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains in the Arabah, south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, and in Naphath Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, to the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites, and the hill country, and to the Hivites below Hamron, in the region of Mizpah. They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camp together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand all of them slain over to Israel. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them. And the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them and pursued them all the way to Greater Sidon, to Mizrath-Maim, and to the valley of Mizpah on the east, until no survivors were left. And Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At this time, Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put his king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of all these kingdoms, everyone in it put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed, and he burned Hazor itself. And Joshua took all these royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their mounds except Hazor, which Joshua burned. And the Israelites carried off for themselves all the plunder and livestock of these cities, until all the people they put to the sword, until they completely destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed. As the Lord commanded his servant Moses, so Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. And he left nothing undone for all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took this entire land, the hill country, all the Negev, the whole region of Goshen, the western foothills, and the Arabah, and the mountains of Israel, with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir, to Baal Gad, in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. And he captured all their kings and put them to death. And Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time. Except for the Hivites living in Gibeon, not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, who took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time, Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory, only in Gaza. Gath and Ashdod did Gath and Ashdod did any only in Gaza, Gath and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land just as the Lord directed Moses, and he gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to the tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war. List of defeated kings. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan, and from the Arnon George to Mount Hermon, including all the eastern side of the Arabah. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon George, from the middle of the George to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. This included half of Gilead. And he also ruled over the eastern Arabah, from the Sea of Galilee to the Sea of the Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, to Beth Jeshimoth, and then southward below the slopes of Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaites, who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. And he ruled over Hermon, Selka, all of Bashan, to the border of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh to be their possession. Here is a list of the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their tribal divisions, and the lands included the hill country, the western foothills, the Arabah, the mountain slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev. These were the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and these were the kings. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai near Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, the king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimron-Meron, 1. The king of Akshaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Medigo, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam and Carmel, 1. The king of Dor and Naphoth Dor, 1. The king of Goyim and Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. 31 kings in all. Land still to be taken. When Joshua had grown old, the Lord said to him, "You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains, all the regions of the Philistines and the Gershonites and the Geshurites, from the Shakor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, all of it counted as Canaanite, though held by the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, the territory of the Avites on the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Era to Sidonians, as far as Aphek and the border of Amorites, the area of Byblos, and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo Hamath, as far as the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Mishroth Maim, that is, all the Sidonians. I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Division for the land east of the Jordan. The other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan, as he, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Aroer to the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and included the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, out to the border of the Ammonites. It also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur and Makkah, all the Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, as far as Salcah, that is, the whole kingdom of Og and Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Erdai. He was the last of the Rephaites. Moses had defeated them and taken over their land. But the Israelites did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, and their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben according to its clans. And the territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau past Medeba to Heshbon, and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth, Baal, Beth Baal Meon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Jezereth, Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, Beth Jeshimoth, all the towns in the plateau, and the entire realm of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and ruled at and the Midianite chefs, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, a son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad according to its clans: the territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half the Ammonite country as far as Aroer near Reba, and from Heshbon to Ramah, Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Debir, and in the valley, Beth-haram, Beth-nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the realm of Sihon king of Heshbon, the east side of the Jordan, the territory up to the end of the Sea of Galilee. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Gadites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the family of the descendants of Manasseh, according to its clans. The territory extending from Mahanaim and including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair and Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, the royal cities of Og and Bashan. This was the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir according to their clans. This is the inheritance Moses has given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan, east of Jericho. But the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he promised them. Division of the land west of the Jordan. And now, these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, with Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel allotted to them. Their inheritances were assigned by lot to the 9½ tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. And Moses granted the 2½ tribes in their inheritance east of the Jordan, but had not granted the Levites an inheritance among the rest, for Joseph's descendants had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of the land, but only towns to live in, with pasture lands of the flocks and herds. So the Israelites received their land. So the Israelites divided the land just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Allotment for Caleb. Now, the people of Judah approached Joshua and Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land, and I brought him back a report according to my convictions. But my fellow Israelites who sent up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, 'The land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly.' Now then, just as the Lord promised, he had kept me alive for 45 years, since the time he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness. So here I am today, 85 years old, but I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now, give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said." Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, who was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war. Allotment for Judah. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, according to its clans, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin in the extreme south. Their southern boundary started from the day at the southern end of the Dead Sea, crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin, and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea, and then it ran past Hezron up to Adar, and curved round to Karka. Then it passed along to Asmon and joined the Waldai of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary is the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. And the northern boundary started from the Bay of the South Sea. The northern boundary started from the Bay of the Sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hogla, and continued north of Beth Araba to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. The boundary then went up to Debir from the valley of Achor, and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the pass of Adumim south of the Jordan. It continued along to the waters of En Shemesh and came out at En Rogel. Then it ran up the valley of Ben Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem. From there it climbed to the hill west of the Hinnom city at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. For the hilltop, from the hilltop, the boundary headed toward the spring of the waters of Nephtoah. From the hilltop, the boundary headed toward the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, came out at the towns of Mount Ephron, and went down towards Bela, that is Kiriath Jearim. Then it curved westward from Bela to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is Kesalon, continued down to Beth Shemesh, and crossed to Timnah, and went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned towards Shikron, passed along to Mount Bela, and reached Jabneel. The boundary ended at the sea. And the western boundary is the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. And there are the boundaries around the people of Judah, but these are the boundaries around the people of Judah by their clans. In accordance with the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave Caleb, son of Jephunneh, a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. From Hebron, Caleb drove out the three Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the sons of Anak. From there he marched against the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher, and Caleb said, I will give my daughter Akshah in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it. So Caleb gave his daughter Akshah to him in marriage. One day when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? And she replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah according to its clans. and the southernmost towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev toward the boundary of Edom were Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kenah, Dimona, Ada, no, oh no, Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kenah, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ephnan, Ziph, Telem, Bealoth, Hazor, Hadattah, Kiriath Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shema, Molada, Hazor, Gada, Heshman, Beth Palet, Hazor, Shual, Beersheba, Beziophia, Bela, Liam, Ezem, Eltolad, Kessel, Horma, Ziklag, Madmana, Sansana, Labaoth, Shillam, Ain, and Ryman, a total of 29 towns and their villages. In the western foothills, Eshtahol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, En-Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, Azekah, Sherem, Aditim, and Gedera or Gederothaim, 14 towns and their villages. Zena, Azenan, Hadashah, Migdal Gad, Dilian, Mizpah, Jokfiel, Lachish, Bozkuf, Eglon, Caban, Lamas, Kitlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Nama, and Makkedah, 16 towns and their villages. Libnah, Epher, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Maresha, 9 towns and their villages. Ekron, with its surrounding settlements and villages, west of Ekron, all that were in the vicinity of Ashdod, together with their villages. Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages, and Gaza, its settlements and villages, as far as the Wadi of Egypt and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jeter, Soko, Dana, Kiriath, Sina, that is Deber, Anab, Eshtemo, Eshtemoth, Anam, Goshen, Holon, Gilo, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Duma, Ishan, Janim, Beth Tapua, Afekah, Humta, Kiriath, Arba, that is Hebron and Zior, 9 towns and their villages. Mayan, Carmel, Ziph, Juttah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanak, Kain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns and their villages, Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Mara, Beth Anaph, and Eltekon, 6 towns and their villages, Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns and their villages in the wilderness, Beth Araba, Midden, Sekaka, Nibshan, and city of salt. Nibshan, the city of salt, and En-Gedi, 6 towns and their villages. Judah could not dislodge the Jebusites who were living in Jerusalem. To this day, the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah.